This is the OLP MM1, a guitar that I have made a video about in the past. Overall, it's a pretty decent guitar, however it is currently in a state of disrepair to the point that it doesn't even have strings on it. So, on this video we will be going over how I got it back into working condition. The first thing that I did was to change the tuners. The original ones weren't so great. They were pretty stiff to turn, while also not being very precise. This did not make tuning the guitar easy. I am replacing them with a set of Gotos, which I had to buy 6 individual units, as for obvious reasons, no one sells sets in this 4-2 combination. These were a direct replacement and needed no modifications, and so was pretty simple to change and took no time to do. And if you're wondering what the point is in changing the tuners on the guitar with a double locking mechanism on it, again, those won't do anything if you can't get it into pitch to begin with. This is what the back of the headstock looks like now with the new tuners installed. The next task is to change the switch as it is broken. As you can see, it doesn't go in the bridged position, it just flips back into the middle position, so I got a replacement switch. This is what the inside of the control cavity looks like. You might be able to make out that the ground wire had already snapped off the switch at some point in the past. I was lucky that the wires coming from the humbuckers were pretty long, and this made me think that I could just use what's already there to wire in a new switch. But as the old one is of a different design, there was barely enough length in the wire coming from the volume control, so I kind of just had to bodge the wiring here. I plan on redoing this soon, as I would need to order new wire so that I would have a piece long enough to wire the switch to the volume pot correctly. And now the switch is working, as you can probably tell from the highly sophisticated testing method. With that done, I could finally restring and get the guitar set up. Since the parts were cheap, I decided to buy new nut clamping blocks and string lock insert blocks. One of the negatives about this guitar is parts like those are made of a softer metal and were slightly worn, so I thought that replacing these would be a good idea. But as I was tuning the guitar, it kept going out of tune again. I was at this for a while and it kept constantly going out of tune by 1/4 of a semitone. And that's how I came to completely taking the bridge apart. I had read online that these licensed Floyd Roses can have a problem that can be caused by what is called the knife edges, the part that makes contact with the posts. They can get worn over time, and that seemed to be the case here. You might be able to make out that on the original posts do have a line around them where they have been worn away by the bridge, so I thought the easy option here was to just buy new replacement posts instead of trying to fix the originals. As for the bridge itself, the part where it makes contact with the posts were also worn away by friction over the years. I followed what I had read online and gave those points a very light filing. I also lubricated where the bridge meets the posts, as to help with friction at this point. I also had issues with the fine tuners. They would get very stiff at certain points while turning them, so I used WD-40 to spray the threads with, and then screwed them fully in and out a few times to work it in. I'm not sure if WD-40 is the best thing to use on a guitar, but issues like this is what WD-40 is used for. After that, I again had the joy of tuning the guitar, which is made a whole lot easier by having had replaced the tuners, and this time it seems to be a success. The guitar is staying in tune. And while I still have a lot to do in terms of giving the guitar a general setup, I now consider this guitar fixed and in a usable condition.